Hey there, Go community, it's Scott. The new console era is finally here, so we have ours and our listeners' impressions of the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5. In news, the voice actor for Cortana will be portraying the role in the upcoming TV series, and Marvel's Avengers is losing a bit of steam. New games discussed include Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales, Astro's Playroom, Leisure Suit Larry Wet Dreams Dry Twice, and Chicken Police Paint It Red. Hope you enjoy the show, wherever you may be cooped up. This is the Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to episode 321 of The Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community. Today is Monday, November 16th. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me are my friends, Zach Parkerson.
Hey, man, I'm riding high this week.
Are you? Why is that?
New Spider-Man game, excellent episode of Mandalorian. Man, I'm firing on all cylinders here.
It has been a good week in media this week. We'll get to that for sure. Also joining us, Mr. Chris Behrensmeyer.
I am also riding high. But for other reasons.
You know how many people have texted me and said, has Chris really put in 21 hours in Valhalla already?
Even more.
He's definitely gone higher.
Yeah, that was a couple days ago. It's kind of insane, but we'll get to that for sure as well. Before we get into the news, I want to give everybody a quick reminder that we've got another community game night coming up on November 20th at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. Last time was a blast. I believe I played some Among Us. I had never played Among Us before. That game is pretty fun. My students will not stop talking about it. The word sus. I'm the cool teacher because I know what sus means.
Oh, look at you go.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But anyway, November 20th. I believe that's a Friday night. Yes. And we will be playing, we don't know what. This has been working out quite well. So just hop on to our Discord. The link is in the show notes. And come join us. Even just come hang out and chat in the Discord, and we'll see what games we've got. You don't even have to own some of the games. If you play Jackbox, you don't have to own that. We got it. We'll stream it for you. Among Us is free if you're playing on the phone. If you got Rocket League and Fall Guys, we've just been having a really good time, so please consider coming out. I actually got to play with Zach last week for the first time, and that was pretty cool. So,
oh yeah, that was kind of weird.
Hopefully that will happen again this time, but stay tuned for more info on that. But hopefully we'll get to see all of you out there. It was an absolute blast last time. Let's go ahead now and jump into the week's news. All right, we got the original voice actress for Cortana has been announced as the live-action actress for the Halo television series. There was a hostage situation at Ubisoft Montreal, or was there? Marvel's Avengers is down 90%. Wow, 96% of its online players. And we've also got an update to Super Mario 3D All-Stars, specifically in the inverted controls aspect of it. Where do you guys want to start with these stories?
I actually think the coolest story, and there, I do want to talk about other ones here, but I think it's so awesome that Jen Taylor gets to be Cortana on Showtime.
Why doesn't that happen more often?
I was going to say, I feel like as fans, we always just say, why don't they do that? Especially when it's an animated character like this, a CG character. There's no reason not to. Like that Scoob movie that came out earlier this year. And Scoob
I didn't see it. Is it good?
It was all right.
It was rotten. But the point is that they recast 4 of the Scooby Gang, and Scooby's voice actor was left intact. It was just strange decision making. But why in that scenario? Like, why not use people who have voiced all the straight to DVD movies and animated shows for the last 20 years? Why do you have to court this, outside talent when you have people that are already so good at it? So it's so awesome that Jen Taylor gets to be Cortana. She's the voice that's been in our ears since, 2001? 2002?
When the original Halo released?
Yeah.
I love it.
I think it also has something to do with they want, like, a face that people are going to recognize, and outside of game circles, most people wouldn't recognize her.
Well, yeah, but doesn't that go against your argument of having her in there?
Well, no. From a studio executive point, because we obviously know they know nothing about making movies. I mean, as a fan, it makes me happy to see Jen Taylor there. But a studio exec's going to be like, who? So why can't we have so-and-so do it?
I feel like with Halo, though, if you're going to make a Halo TV series, which obviously they are, you're really going after one specific fan base with a game, with a series based on Halo. Is anybody outside of the of gaming going to be super jazzed for a Halo series? I mean, if it's action, I guess, but there's going to be a ton of people that are going to watch that because it's Halo, because they play the games, because they want to see Master Chief armor. They're not going to see his face. Let's be honest.
I think you're going to see it. Oh, maybe Mandalorian proved that you could do a Master Chief without seeing his face all the time.
Yeah.
Because I always just assumed we were going to see porn Sash's face all the time.
Is Steve Downes going to be doing the voice of Master Chief? Do we know that for sure?
No, it's the guy who played the prison guard in Orange is the New Black.
God, him?
That's why I said porn stash.
Oh, I wasn't catching the reference. He's playing. He's doing the voice of Master Chief.
He was cast as Master Chief.
Why?
Eons ago. I don't know. They must really just bulk that dude up because there's no other reason. He's got to put on 100 pounds of muscle to look even remotely the part.
Well, because aren't Spartans like 7 feet tall or something?
I think John's like 6'7" out of his armor, but in their armor, I think they're like over 7 feet tall. Yeah,
that doesn't make any sense. Why? I could see them maybe putting him in the armor and then still having Steve Downes. You have to have the voice of Master Chief, don't you?
I would be very surprised if they. Because why? If you're the actor of Master Chief, don't you want to do? If you're like, he's an actor, right? It's not like where they got John Wayne's grandson to be the Mandalorian and then they pump in Pedro Pascal's voice. Like, they're casting an actual actor to be Master Chief. I can't imagine he would want to do the part if he's not going to be the character.
I mean, they did it for Darth Vader.
Yeah, that guy was historically upset about it for decades.
Right. He got over it.
I don't know that he did.
I'm actually now like less interested in this show just because
I can't believe you guys didn't know that. Pablo Schreiber, by the way, is his name. I can't believe you guys didn't know that he had been cast.
I didn't. I never heard that, and that doesn't make any sense to me at all.
I will say,
I don't know. I'll have to wait and see, but
yeah, but I think they're doing a smart thing where it's like where Master Chief's not the main character. He's like the main character is somebody like in one of the colonies or whatever, and Master Chief kind of like comes into his life, which I think is the smarter way to go. But I can't. I mean, they should do Stephen Downes. You're right. He is Master Chief, but I don't think it's going to happen.
That's just such an iconic voice. I mean, he's even in the commercials, like Taco Bell commercials, where they're advertising the Series X and all that. Like they're using him then, but they're not going to use him in the actual TV series.
Again, studio execs know nothing.
Again, I could be wrong, but you're right. They should have gone get a stunt man to be Master Chief on screen and then have Stephen Downes do the voice, but I don't think it's going to happen.
It's crazy. I thought it was kind of cool that she almost wasn't going to get this role. It was going to be, what's her name? Natasha McElhone? I don't know how to pronounce the name.
I don't know her from anything, honestly.
I don't either. She was going to play Cortana and the creator, Dr. Catherine Halsey, but because of a scheduling conflict that kept her from playing both roles, McElhone will still be playing Halsey, but Taylor will be playing Cortana, which is rad. I hope this happens more because I feel like we're on the cusp of a really good video game movie or TV series. I mean, we've had some good ones. Silent Hill was good. Sonic wasn't terrible, but that was more of a comedy than like a serious thing.
It was like a
Tomb Raider was good.
Yeah, but what you're saying is, yeah, everything has been good. We haven't had like that breakout, like truly great property yet.
Right. And
what you're saying,
I feel like a lot of people would agree with me, especially movie people, because they're going to always have the argument of like, well, you just have to get, they're not always actors, they're voice actors and
still actors.
To me, that's I'm not an expert in that route, but I just feel like it would be a bigger selling point if you get the voice and face that you've known from the games instead of somebody that you're constantly thinking that's not who that is.
Or Roger Craig Smith should have been Sonic.
Why wasn't Roger Craig Smith Sonic?
Like, and I get it's stunt casting, right, to get a celebrity name above, but nobody's sitting around going, "Oh, Ben Schwartz is Sonic. I gotta see it now."
Mm-hmm.
Zero people did that.
Yeah, there's nobody that went to see that movie because that voice is in it.
Yes.
I would have been more apt. I did see it in the theater,
right?
But I would have been more excited to see it if I had known Roger Craig Smith was doing the voice of Sonic.
I mean, exactly right. Just like Halo, and because Halo, you get Stephen Downes, and you get the fans excited. Now the fans are telling their friends, like, "Oh, guys, you got to watch this upcoming Showtime show about Halo. I love Halo to death. You guys should check it out."
Yeah, I mean, this is actually only the second live action like game TV show that I can think of.
What other one was there?
Mortal Kombat Legacy.
Was that I thought that was just like they actually pulled that off. I thought that was just like an idea and like a one episode thing.
No, it was one episode on YouTube that then became 8.
Okay.
I'll have to loan you the DVD sometime because it's actually really good.
I remember seeing the one episode or like a shot of one of the episodes, and it was shockingly high produced.
I think it was 2 seasons, but it was on YouTube, or it was a web series, so not like a...
Yeah, it was a web series that then didn't it get moved to like YouTube Red for a little while, and then...
I'm not totally sure. I do remember it being very good. I watched all of it.
Yeah.
Was it the same company that did the Power Rangers one, where they made like a gritty Power Rangers short?
So
do you remember that?
I think so, which was also really good.
It's the same guy. He also did a Punisher short. He did a Punisher short film, Mortal Kombat, Power Rangers, and a Venom short film, which is actually really cool, called Truth of Journalism. But I think Mortal Kombat's the only one that got picked up into a series.
Gotcha.
The rest were fan films, in quotes.
Yeah.
Some of those fan ones have been pretty good. Wasn't the Uncharted one a fan one? But they somehow got Nathan Fillion?
Yeah. Well, the Punisher fan film from this guy had Tom Jane.
Yeah, I remember that. That was actually really good, too.
That's freaking awesome.
It was really good.
Well, Thomas Jane. He's still my Punisher, just so everyone...
I'll agree with that. The Power Ranger one had a bunch of the original cast.
I think I do remember that.
It had like the Green Ranger, right?
Yeah, I mean, Jason David Frank was in it.
The White Ranger?
Ranger, yeah. He's green and then white, right?
Yeah.
Jason David Frank was I thought he was the Red Ranger.
You would know better than I would. You're a little younger than I am.
No, Jason David Frank was green and white. Austin St. John was red.
Okay. See, Power Rangers hit when I was just a little too old. Because I remember when that came out, I was so excited to see Power Rangers, and I watched one episode, and I was like, nope, I'm out. And I never watched it again. I think I was 16. It was like right where it was just a little too uncool to like Power Rangers.
Yeah.
So. Anyway, CB, what story do you want to talk about?
Well, I want to just beat this dead horse one last time. Marvel Avengers.
Yes, thank you. I really want to bash this game a little bit.
I just want to hit on this one last time. I mean, man. So what they're down to the average players were 762 in November on PC. Now, I think we'll all agree that console might be a little higher.
I would assume that console is significantly higher than that.
I don't think it's... if it is higher, I think it is minimal at most. What leads you to believe that it's significantly higher, Scott?
Well, I'm not talking about like tens of thousands. I'm just saying it's not going to be under 1,000. I would have guessed it'd been closer to like, I don't know, between 5 and 10.
I bet it's 1,200.
Really?
Yeah.
I was going to say in the 3,000 range.
Tell you what, like, Scott, you see the kind of people, or you both probably see the kind of people I follow on Twitter. Like, yeah, I'm friends on Twitter with the guy who literally wrote the book on Spider-Man video games.
Mm-hmm.
And those people aren't playing it.
Right.
Who the hell is left? That's the target audience. It doesn't get more targeted than them, and none of those people are playing it.
Well, isn't the issue with that game that it doesn't have any legs? Like that we're waiting for its Taken King expansion, that brought people back into the fold with Destiny, but this never had the popularity of Destiny or high marks.
But Destiny had a very large concurrent player base while they were waiting for expansions.
Right.
Yeah. I still go back to Zach. You and I talked about this in the very beginning. I think they chose the wrong villain.
Oh, well, yeah, MODOK is definitely a weak sauce villain. I don't know what the hell they were doing there. But I think they chose the wrong developer.
I can agree with that too.
They took a developer who has like 25, 30 years of narrative heavy single player action adventure video games and then give them this like multiplayer RPG loot hybrid.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty strange decision making. And Square Enix also not Square Enix West. I'm sorry, because they do have the MMOs out of Japan, but Square Enix West not exactly known for this stuff either. It's just a bizarre genre decision. And they're also coming to a genre that is normally free and then asking people to pay $60 and then $10 per character hero card.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just the nickel and diming was offensive. You know, the costumes costing $20 is insane. And the core combat loop is like good enough to get through a 10, 12 hour campaign, but it's not good enough to play for hundreds or thousands of hours.
Well, here's what's interesting to me is that they've posted this massive loss, which I'm getting conflicting numbers because my report said $48 million loss, but I read another one today that said $62 or $63 million loss.
It is $63 million.
Yeah, 63 is the only one I saw. I'm not sure why that article, one of the articles you linked to said 48 here. It's the first time I've heard that number.
Here's what's interesting though. It's the second best selling digital game behind Final Fantasy VII Remake. So is it just they spent so much money for the licensing in this game and development and all that they just didn't make nearly enough back?
Well, at the same time, though, they were banking on people playing this for years. They were also banking on people spending a lot buying character cards. Nobody bought them.
And people didn't.
I think part of it is also clearly something went wrong with this game somewhere along the way because it took 5 years to come out.
Mm-hmm.
That's a long time. And I think you can, if when you play through it, and I feel like I noted this in my review, it feels like two different games competing against each other. The campaign feels like it was built entirely separate of the multiplayer stuff, and now they had to like wrap all this looter stuff around it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe this game was always a live service thing.
No.
Just it doesn't feel like it, and
well, let me ask you this: would you feel better about Avengers if it had been still a $60 game that was just the campaign and the whole looter second part of the game wasn't there? Would you still have felt okay paying $60 for it?
Well, since I just paid $50 for Miles Morales, which was shorter, the answer is probably yes.
Right, but it's because it's weird, and that's kind of my point. It's interesting to me that I haven't played the game. I've seen the title screen, and that's as far as I got. After reading Zach's review, I just felt like I didn't need to. But that's kind of my point, is that we're poo-pooing this game so much, even though the stuff that we're complaining about is more or less an added feature, and what, if it weren't there, we'd be completely fine with the game. That was a great campaign. That was awesome. Next.
Well, like I said, I think they were really banking on the fact that they needed people to buy character cards to make back their money on this. And as it stands right now, I played it. I beat the campaign. I have no desire to ever play it again.
You mean play the extra stuff, or ever you will never touch the campaign again?
I'm done. Either? I'm done with it. I have no desire to touch it again.
Huh.
And I don't want to keep stepping all over CB here. But the campaign ends in such a way that it is act one of a story.
Right.
So while the campaign is great, the story is not over.
No.
By any means. There is no resolution, and they direct you to the multiplayer stuff. And then also the whole time you're playing the campaign, they'll constantly remind, like, there are missions, there are objectives that you have to get through in the campaign where it's go and see the vendors, and interact with the real money currency. Like, they make you do it. So every time you get like super into, like, you're playing as Iron Man, and you're flying through his villa as he's slowly rebuilding his armor. You're like, this is an amazing set piece. And then the next scene, they're like, be sure to visit your vendor to turn in your daily missions so you can get more currency, so you can have, pick random loot. I'm like, no. It keeps shoving what it isn't in your face, and you're just like, I just want to be immersed in the story, but you won't let me.
I still, Zach, you and I have talked about this at length, but I still cannot stand this game simply for the fact that they've made characters too weak. It doesn't make sense. Like there's zero reason that Joe Blow, regular dude just can take 5 hits from the Hulk.
It does have a bit of the Superman video game problem where you're playing as Thor, a literal god, but then you have to hit a dude 17 times with Mjolnir to kill him, and he's just a dude with a machine gun. It's definitely weird. And then all your upgrades are, spinal cord implants.
Yeah.
It's just weird. So many tiny mistakes add up to make this game make you not want to play it.
I could understand the tech upgrades for like Iron Man's suit, but upgrading Bruce Banner's shorts. Yeah, sure.
Right. But even if the shorts changed when you got a new one, that would be cool because it's a loot game. You want it to be visually represented, and it isn't in this game.
Yeah.
Just strange.
Anyways, I think I dodged a bullet by not having to play this game. Yeah, it sounds like it.
So $63 million, which is not a lot for a $2.5 billion company.
Mm-hmm.
But when you think about it, that was the entire budget for the first Jurassic Park movie.
Huh. Right. Or you think about how successful the other games Square Enix has released in this time frame have been, and you realize how much Avengers had to have failed to get them to a $63 million loss.
That's also $1996 as opposed to $2020.
That is true.
Is that 96 when that movie came out?
94.
96?
That was 94.
94. You're right. It is 94. Holy cow! That movie's over 25 years old.
If only we had a valuable resource on hand.
I know, right? Anyway, I had to talk about this Super Mario 3D All-Stars story that just dropped a couple hours ago, at least on my feed. So they're making it so that you can have inverted controls in Super Mario 3D All-Stars, which, yay, Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, Super Mario Galaxy, inverted controls. One catch, you have to use a GameCube controller. Another catch, in order to use your GameCube controller, you have to have the GameCube controller adapter. Also, if you have a Switch Lite, like I do, there is no option for inverted controls because you can only do it with the GameCube controller. How does that make any sense?
Don't you actually have a regular Switch as well?
I do, but it's not. I'm not going to transfer my game file over to it. I can't. You can't do that without completely wiping the old console.
Wait, I'm sorry. You need the GameCube controller in order to play the games inverted? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
Yes.
What?
Yeah. And you can't just play it. You can't just pull out your Switch and choose inverted controls.
And it
says Super Mario Sunshine now supports the Nintendo GameCube controller, sold separately. Players can now play this title using the same controls as found in the original GameCube release.
But I'm sorry, from the patch notes that you linked here, those are separate bullet points, though, no, right?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Players can now invert the camera controls within all 3 individual titles. And that's just a complete separate bullet point. But okay, so yeah, it's the using of the GameCube controller on the Lite you can't do.
Okay. Yeah.
So
that's weird.
So I was wrong. You can invert the controls, which hallelujah. Because why that is a thing? Why that is a thing that in a re-release, if you're going to fix something, that's a pretty big thing to fix.
Well, I feel like it's one of the major complaints of Sunshine. Is the inverted
seriously?
Camera. Yeah. I can understand not using a GameCube controller on the Switch Lite, though.
I understand that. I don't need to use a game. Why would I need to?
Well, essentially, why would I need a controller for a handheld?
Right, I'm going to prop up my Switch Lite. You know what I mean? So I misread this. I apologize, but I seriously was under the impression that I had to have a GameCube controller to do it, which I'm sorry, the GameCube controller is not a great controller, although Wavebird was pretty solid.
It's an okay controller. To me, it's better than the N64 controller.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's not a very high bar. That controller was so weird. What a weird freaking controller. But yeah, so if you want to invert your controls in Mario 3D games, you can, finally. And hallelujah. I genuinely can't wait to jump back into that. I still carry my Switch Lite around in my backpack with me and just bust out a couple stars here and there. Well, that sounded dirtier than I meant it to. Anyway, excited about that. I know we've all talked about a story, but I think it would behoove us to mention this just very quickly. That hostage situation at Ubisoft in Montreal wound up being a hoax. So I don't want to alarm anybody in case I made it seem like that was a real thing. But the media sure portrayed it like it was real. Every news story as it was happening was like, there's a hostage situation at Ubisoft.
Man, media outlets jumping the gun on things? No, that never happens.
Well, it was so many, though. You know, it was like, well, this is obviously a thing that's happening, because why wouldn't they believe it, right? So, I don't know. Turned out to be a hoax. There was no threat. It's kind of a non-story, but rest assured, nobody was hurt. It was. I don't know the details as to what made it a hoax. At least I couldn't find any more information on it. But there you have it. That's going to do it for the news. Let's move on to some quick updates. As I said, we're going to remind everybody of our Patreon. If you would like some extra content, maybe some extra swag, be sure to head over to patreon.com/thegocast. Your contributions help us keep the show running, help us provide giveaways, and help us fund our next R2V2, whenever that's going to be. CB, what are some bonus episodes that people can listen to right now if they subscribe for Patreon?
Well, our spoiler cast of Star Wars Squadrons is pretty recent, as well as our really recent episode of Dante's Inferno, which was a break the seal for Chad. I know it got a little interesting on that one.
I still have to go back and listen to it.
Yes, you do.
But I love Dante's Inferno. That game was a lot of fun till the final boss. I'm looking forward to going and checking that one out for sure.
We also have a break the seal coming up on Final Fantasy VI.
Mm-hmm.
And we're working on another episode for November right now, and I have a feeling it could be a going, gone, or my guess is there's going to be a spoiler cast on a certain game.
No, not another spoiler cast. What was the episodes we did where we just sat around and just talked on the mic?
Like a meet the press kind of thing?
Yeah, where we just kind of sat around and just kind of had some questions from the community about just ourselves and had some beers, and that's a fun episode.
Yes, it is.
So we should do that. But again, if any of those, as well as all of our back catalog, any old episodes that we did, whether it was Break the Seals or Retro Outsider episodes, those are all available for $3 a month. And there are some good ones. CB made me play Plumbers Don't Wear Ties one time. Talked about that abysmal game, which I had to play a second time when Christina was on the episode. That was interesting.
Still great.
But, again, patreon.com/thegocast. Let's go ahead now and jump into the games that we've actually been playing. Zach, we had a ton of releases last week. Is it letting up a little bit this week?
Thankfully, yes. I assume that you were very busy this last week with all your hot new Xbox games. We could talk about,
didn't play as many as you'd think, but yes, I was pretty busy.
Talk about that shortly. However, this week kicks off with the first game coming to every major console on the same day. Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate coming to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series, Xbox One, Switch, PC, and, of course, the Stadia.
Google Stadia.
November 17th.
Just let it die.
It's unreal that these games, like a fighting game on Stadia, sounds like a miserable exercise.
It really does, especially one that is intricate as Mortal Kombat 11.
Yes. Then Monster Truck Championship gets ported to the Nintendo Switch November 19th. Star Renegades, which was spoken of very highly by Kevin, right? Kevin Honigford?
Yes. He loved that game.
Well, that's coming to Xbox One and Switch November 19th. I think I want to check that one out on Switch for sure. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity is coming to Switch November 20th. That's a Musuo type game. Katamari Damacy Reroll, which came out on the Switch, I want to say 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It's coming to PS4 and Xbox One November 20th. And then I cannot believe this, but World of Warcraft getting its new expansion with Shadowlands on PC November 23rd, which is a Monday, which is strange. Yeah, what's anything catching y'all's eyes this week?
Oh, yes.
Does it have Zelda in the title?
No,
I guess
actually.
it actually doesn't, actually.
No. Well, I mean, I do want to play...
Before you say yours, I'm willing to bet you and I are on the same page, Scott.
Because considering what else is on this list, it has to be Katamari Damacy.
Yeah, it is.
What?
Oh my god, dude! I love Katamari Damacy on PlayStation 2 so much, and I didn't pick it up on Switch. And now that it's on Xbox, we're gonna have to get that game.
Yeah, we will.
If you guys have not played Katamari Damacy, don't let the weirdness of that title and the music and everything scare you away. It is a must-play game. It really is. It sounds like a stupid concept. You're just a dude rolling around a ball, picking up items that get progressively larger and larger, and they stick to the ball, and the ball keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But by the end of each stage, you are picking up skyscrapers and whales, and it is such a relaxing experience that is just super satisfying. I can't wait to play Katamari Damacy again. I'm glad you're on board with me, man, because that's awesome. Hyrule Warriors, I kind of have to buy that by default,
Right.
just for the collection. I mean, that's going to happen. I'm not as jazzed to play it, so that may be one I may wait for, just although Nintendo games never go cheap.
Nope.
Just don't have any money, guys. I just bought consoles. So I don't have any money. I don't have any DJ gigs. I don't have any way to run any money. So I'm going to have to wait. But what about you, Zach?
I think I'm leaning Star Renegades. Part of me wants Age of Calamity, and I'm sure I will play it. But it feels like a game I can kind of wait on a little bit, because Breath of the Wild 2 could come any day, or any year, rather. So yeah, I think Star Renegades, especially based on Kevin's review, he definitely sang the praises of that one. And you know, I like sci-fi quite a bit. I don't care about Katamari. I'm sorry.
At all? You've never played it?
I've played them. They're not for me, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They're just very satisfying to me.
That's fair. I mean, I can see why people like them, but they're not for me. But speaking of games you are playing,
Yes.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla. You guys are playing this on 360, is that right?
Yeah, of course.
This says Xbox on here. Yeah, guys, this is your big your Xbox. You guys both got the Xbox Series X, right?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
You guys using its ping pong ball hovering feature?
Doesn't work.
I was gonna say I thought that was debunked. That doesn't actually work.
Oh,
Just-
I thought the smoking got debunked with the vaping, but I thought the ping pong was for real.
No, it isn't. That
That's
fan
sad.
is actually the system is quiet.
You know what? We'll get into that later, however.
Yeah.
Right now, let's talk about these video games, and you guys both, I assume, started with Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yeah.
First game I fired up. Yep.
It's
Well-
really, really, really pretty.
I will. How long does it take before Desmond shows up? No. No.
Isn't
Okay.
that I'm trying.
This is definitely a skirt around kind of thing.
No, I did not expect to see Desmond in this game.
To answer your question, though, I will say that in terms of how this game looks, like CB was saying, the environments, the world, the water flowing is stunningly gorgeous. I still think that the character models look better on Odyssey, like the facial animations and the characters.
I will say the facial animations aren't as good, but the hair is better.
Okay, I can see that.
Far better. Man, like I don't want to talk too much about the story because it goes really weird really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I do agree with a lot of the people out there. The controls feel a little clunky.
See, I had a problem with the controls.
With climbing or trying to parkour. It feels.
I can say maybe the parkour, but the climbing feels so much better than like the older Assassin's Creed games where you're having to constantly look for handholds. This feels like they took a page out of the Breath of the Wild playbook in that you can climb anything. There's never anything that you can't get over. And that's one of the things that always irk me about open world games is when I feel like I'm roadblocked by a mountain that has the wrong angle that I just can't get up. In Valhalla, you just climb anything and just get over it. And I love that.
I could see that. You play as Ivor. Did you go male or female Ivor?
Well, we should actually even say you have a choice to be male or female, or you can let the animus choose for you.
Yes.
Oh, that's kind of
So
cool.
you can, you like, because there's a part of the story which I assume CB knows a little bit more than I do. There's something about overlapping DNA strands, so it's almost like we don't know if Eivor was a male or a female, and so it's actually part of the story in that if you let the animus choose, it just decides which one it thinks that DNA strand is, which is kind of cool.
That's fun.
So,
it's funny because the old lore was Desmond had to go with male ancestors. They addressed this in the first Assassin's Creed, actually, that you couldn't use a different gender thing because your mind rejects it.
Was it because he was a male though, and because
Right.
this
So he
is
could-
Layla?
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know.
Oh, because Layla could be a male as well. I see what you're saying.
No, I think they changed the. I think they just changed the lore. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Well,
It used to be that way, and it also used to be that you would know who it was because of the genetic memory was surefire.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess
Well,
See, what did you choose?
I chose male.
Okay, I chose female because I loved Cassandra so much in Odyssey, and everybody back before I played Odyssey was saying that you got to play as Cassandra because she's just the better voice actress. And
she was.
although wasn't it Alexis?
Alexios.
What about
No. The voice actor that played him wasn't that the guy? Wasn't that the guy that did the Deus Ex character? Anyway,
Oh, Elias Truffaut or whatever.
yeah, I'm not like disparaging his performance. I just
I don't think
remember
it
that
was.
everyone's
That'd
saying
be insane.
Cassandra's was just like just such an entertaining. Anyway, so leaning on that, I chose the female Eivor, and I kind of regret it. Not in any sexist reason, but her character feels forced, like Alexios felt forced in Odyssey to me. Like it felt when you played Odyssey, it felt like the story was Cassandra's story, and they tacked on Alexios. This one feels like it's male Eivors, and they tacked on female Eivors.
Dangerous thing to say out loud in 2020, my friend.
True. I will say it's going to make for some interesting bits later on for you.
Well, I did come
sexual.
across a woman that propositioned me. I will say, is that what you mean?
Oh no, like it just the way the story flows later on. It's going to feel strange.
It's going to feel strange as a female character.
Yes.
Okay. And and again, I don't mean this to sound sexist at all. I feel like in Odyssey, it felt natural. But I don't know a lot about Norse or people from Norway or whatever. When I think of Vikings, I just think of male characters. I don't know if that's just my incorrect perception of history or whatever. It feels off to me. But how is your Eivor? Does it feel good?
Glorious.
Glory for Valhalla.
Oh my god. I'm having a blast with this game. Just to me this game feels like a land-based version of Black Flag.
Okay. There is some water, but it's not nearly as much open water.
But just running around, pillaging, just doing my Viking thing.
That's the thing is, like, I was wondering how I was going to feel about that because you play an Assassin's Creed game, you want to be stealthy, right? You want to be... The way I played Assassin's Creed games is I sneak around and I'm trying to assassinate. You're not doing that, at least as far as I am in the game. You are running around just wreaking havoc.
Yeah. Well, have you received a hidden blade yet?
I have a hidden blade, which is interesting. We knew this already, but it's over the top of the wrist instead of underneath.
The comment he makes on when he gets that is hilarious.
Yes.
Because he just slaps it on. He goes, "Why would I want to hide this? I just want to punch people."
Well,
I was like, this is awesome.
I guess he's telling us.
Well, it's going to be... It's fairly early in the game.
Yeah, it's pretty early.
But your character definitely goes through a lot of growth in this game. I'm currently 55 hours in.
Shit. Jesus, man.
I can't stop. I can't stop playing. It's real. This game suffers from the same problem to me that Origins and Odyssey did. There is too much game, and there's too many storylines.
Which is funny because I feel like part of their marketing was that that this one's smaller, right?
No,
I thought they said there was going to be less fluff this time. I'm pretty sure they said that.
I'm pretty sure they did too, but it sure doesn't feel like it.
I mean, it depends on what you consider fluff. This isn't Unity levels of extra collectibles on the map. I don't know if you remember playing Unity, but holy cow.
Yeah, I do. It had nothing on Odyssey.
Yeah, there are far less collectibles.
Yeah, things are a little bit more spread out.
There's not like feathers everywhere or
right. But everything is either like you have like a checklist in each section of the world that says you have this many pieces of wealth, this many pieces of what instances, or what do they call them? Like
anomalies,
almost like little minis. What do you call them?
There's the anomalies, the world events.
World events, that's what I'm thinking of. And world events really have nothing to do with the main story. It's just like I wouldn't even call it like a side quest or side story because it's literally like a 2 or 3 minute thing, and then you never see it again.
That's where a lot of the fluff and filler is.
But it's not like long periods of time, so it doesn't take you as much time. What takes you the most time is actually getting from A to B. Yes. Because climbing, as easy as it is, like I mentioned, it still takes a good time to climb a mountain. You know what I mean? The thing that frustrates me is trying to find the wealth, because I just want to put a marker on my map and go there, and you can't do that if the wealth is hidden underground. They don't give you a waypoint to like the cave entrance or wherever it is. You have to use your Raven to search the area and find out where this entrance is, and then work your way in to find the treasure. That I can't decide if I like that or not.
And the Raven, you cannot mark targets or find targets like you could in previous games.
Mm-hmm. It's just literally like a scout.
It's
you
just
use it to look for, because a good indicator of a cave entrance is that there are guys standing all in an area just randomly. They're probably guarding the entrance to a cave or something. But again, you can't mark it to put a waypoint on your map just to walk to it. You have to. Well, again, I think you can change that. Because they gave you the option when you start up the game to do, like, if you want to do Explorer mode. Remember Explorer mode on Odyssey, where like they didn't give you any waypoints. You just really had to like pick up on the clues from the townsfolk and head in that direction and hope you stumbled across it. I just did like the normal, whatever it was called in this one. But there is an easier level that might allow you to do those, which maybe I'll just switch to that.
Well, since I know you both have played Odyssey. Mm-hmm. You remember how there was the tree with the order that had like all the targets?
Oh yeah.
There's that storyline. There's the main storyline. There's another storyline which I'm pretty sure Scott hasn't gotten into yet.
Yeah, I barely got to the, I will say, second area.
There's the hunting storyline again, where you go hunt big, huge beasts.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's 2 other storylines like the beasts that are slight variants of it.
Huh.
So that's why I'm like, there's a lot. I mean, I've got like 3 or 4 left to complete the order storyline. And then the map is broken up into like 16 regions. And each region to do that takes like 3 hours. And that's just the main storyline.
Right. Not like all the collectibles and all the stuff like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot going on in this. But I love this game for one simple reason. They brought back my favorite thing.
Your favorite thing?
The modern day storyline.
Well, there is some of that too. But they brought back the settlement building finally.
Oh, okay.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it's very in depth, in detail, and there's a lot for it, and I'm loving it.
It feels a little Red Dead Redemption 2, the way they do it in this game.
Yeah.
In terms of story, like, this traveling group of they're Norsemen, right?
Yes.
Am I saying that correctly? You know, and they have set up camp someplace. I don't know what's considered a spoiler anymore. Like where they go, is that a spoiler? I don't know. It was news to me when I got
England?
there. Yeah. Okay. So yeah.
I mean that's in every trailer.
Okay. I couldn't remember, but it was a surprise to me, and I was glad because I was worried I was going to be in Norway and snow and ice for the entire game.
That's what I was hoping originally.
Really? See,
Yeah.
that gets old to me. But
there's-
rest assured, man, you can spend as much time in Norway as you want. I think this is the longest I've ever played a game before I saw the opening title screen.
Yeah, it's a while.
It's a long time. I think I was talking to Troy. I think he spent about 7 hours before he finally saw Assassin's Creed Valhalla pop up on the screen.
Yeah, it was a
That's-
good 3 to 4 for me.
Granted, Troy plays like me, where he clears the map before he moves on to the story.
Well, clearly not, because he took much longer to see the title.
Well, no, but that's how I normally play when I'm not having a stack of 6 other games I want to be playing to talk about. You know what I mean? I'm not going to beat Valhalla. I'm not. It's so huge.
It is really big, but I want to see this through because of what's going on in the modern time stuff, because where they're located, and have you been to the modern time in the game yet?
One time, but it was very brief.
Okay.
I basically woke up, walked around, and then went back to the animals.
Okay. Because if you read like all the stuff, you know where they are. So to find out where you are to get to where they are.
Okay. I think I know where you're going because I came across what they were digging up. And again, I'm trying to skirt around what they're saying.
So I'm just trying to figure out like
I feel
how.
like I've never seen you guys be so spoiler sensitive about a game before.
Well, this game's only been out for 4 days, so there are a lot of people
we talk about games pretty often on here, guys. It's just funny that you guys seem afraid to talk about anything happening in this thing.
Well, one of the things about Assassin's Creed games is there's always like a bunch of big reveals as the game goes on. Yeah. And for people that are listening, like, I don't want to spoil that because unfortunately some people aren't as psychotic as I am.
Well, and he mentioned the anomalies, which is like these little platformy like puzzles in the within the Animus, but they do something in the Assassin's Creed series that I don't believe I've ever seen done.
No, that's new.
And they do that in the anomalies, and it was really cool and really intriguing. That makes me want to go explore those anomalies more. Do you remember the Apple of Eden puzzles where you would complete it and then you would get like
a video clip,
a 1.5-second video clip?
Yeah, Assassin's Creed 2 or Brotherhood.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember it in 2 for sure, but I think they also did it in Brotherhood. But I love that they brought that back because it's cool, like getting just that little clip of a video and then you get another piece and you piece it together and see a little bit more. And then you start seeing it longer and longer and longer every time. I like that a lot. But again, they do something that I don't understand why they're doing it, but I feel like it's going to be story related at some point down the road. And it's really cool.
To me, this game feels more like 2, but with the graphics of Odyssey.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely feels like it's moved back to where the game used to be, just more free form.
Well, you got to remember too, I'm not nearly as far as you. I haven't even, like, my character, I assume she's going to become a part of the Assassin's Guild. I have not had that happen to me yet. I keep trying to do a leap of faith and it doesn't work.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you don't get a leap of faith right away, so when you jump off buildings, you just like fly off.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. Because usually even before you know what the leap of faith is, your character still does it.
Right. So even when you're like synchronizing at the viewpoints, you have to climb down. You can jump, but you'll lose you'll either die or lose a significant chunk of health.
That's so interesting.
It's also like finding the old assassin. Like it really does feel like too. The more I think about it, because you can go around and find the old assassins' bureaus that are hidden around England, like you could in 2.
Nice.
Oh yeah, all the hidden tombs in 2. It sounds like it kind of molds the old and the new, then, huh?
It really does feel like that. I'm absolutely loving it. There are a lot of bugs I've been coming across, some of which are utterly hilarious, like fast traveling and winding up a half a mile above the play area, and then skydiving. But while you're skydiving and like flailing around, your limbs become like 40 feet long. So you look like a giant spaghetti monster flying as you then slam into the ground.
If only Eivor knew how to take a leap of faith.
Yeah.
Right? I will also say I'm experiencing a significant amount of screen tearing. Again, I'm playing on the Xbox Series X. I don't know if it is a platform-specific issue. I haven't compared it to PlayStation, but
I haven't
lot of screen tearing for me.
I haven't had any screen tearing. Other than the one time where I had the falling from the sky, I've had weapons get stuck in my hand. So as you're going through cutscenes, like I had an arrow that was like holding onto an arrow forever. So like I would pick up a glass and drink and just stab myself in the face with the arrow.
Yeah, that's a classic kind of bug right there.
I love that.
So I've had a few of those, or the horse walking upside down.
Oh, okay. We should talk about the combat a little bit. It is using the Origins and Odyssey formula, but they've revamped it even more so because these are Vikings that are very melee focused. Not a lot of stealth for me so far. It is, and it's interesting because I'm so used to just stealthing everything, which was how I prefer to play games like this. But you just go all in. There's no hiding. There's no. I mean, there is some times where you can try to clear out stuff, but it's let's go raid and pillage this place.
You'll start changing.
Okay, all right. I'm glad to hear that because that's how I like to play. I like to sneak around and kill from the shadows and the bushes and I don't know.
Once you start getting some of the abilities, you'll start wanting to do it more.
All right, cool.
I think I'm such a weird fundamentalist on Assassin's Creed. I'm like, well, if you don't have a cow, then it's not an Assassin's Creed game.
There are cows.
Cowl.
Oh yeah. There's plenty of cows.
I need my.
It sounded like you said cows. I'm like, there's cows.
Zack is really concerned about having cows in an Assassin's Creed game.
Man, come on. It was so important to Altair, so I expect it to be important to every assassin. Come on.
The cowl is different in this though.
Oh, because he was from Jerusalem. I get it. Anyway, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. CB is obviously liking it since he's put a work week and a half in it. Good God.
Still going. All right.
I'm enjoying it, but I am overwhelmed by its size. It is a massive game.
Lots of walking.
But I'm telling you, sitting up on a perch and panoraming around, I've done a couple spins.
Yeah,
it's impressive looking.
Well, I can't wait to play it 6 months from now and then play 8 hours of it and go like, I don't know what you guys are talking about, and then drop it.
Well, if you like 2, I think you'll like this one a little bit more. But
I've heard it has way more modern day storyline than the last 2.
Yes,
so that's exciting.
But you have to choose to do it. You have to choose to get out of the Animus.
Fine with me. I get out of that Animus every chance I get.
Well, speaking of other new games, kind of, you both have been playing Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Educate me. Tell me what it's all about.
Well, I haven't played. I imagine I haven't played nearly as much as Zach has at this point, so I'll let him start.
Yes, well, I have beaten the game and done
okay,
most of the side stuff.
How long is it?
I want to say 8 to 10, maybe closer to 8. It's definitely like how long would you say the first Spider-Man was? Like 16?
I would have said it was like 16.
16, 20?
I'd say probably around 8 to 10 then.
Okay. That's not bad.
So it's definitely shorter.
Which I like. Which we all like, I think. There's also less like nonsense side activities like taking pictures of landmarks and stuff.
Right. But I liked that.
It was none of that. Well, it was fun for Easter eggs, right? But did you really need 14 Taskmaster challenges or whatever?
No. Oh my God, I hated those so much. That's the only reason I wouldn't get the platinum in that game.
Now, certainly, I will certainly get the platinum in Miles Morales as well.
Okay, right. So
it's great.
I know, Zach, you're playing it on the PS4, and Scott's playing it on the PS5.
Yes, which you're not going to get back, by the way.
Lies.
Well, he will keep it for as long as you kept Mario Kart Live or Circuit Tour or whatever.
He did give it back, so
eventually
I'll give you Mario Kart back.
Yeah, there you go.
No. So I'm see, this is like, okay, you did play Spider-Man on PS4, Scott. So
yes.
Does it look any better?
It has been since September of that year that I played the original Spider-Man, because I beat it in pretty much like that week or whatever, because it was that good. If the original Spider-Man looked as good as Miles Morales does, I will be shocked. This game looks incredible. Outside of Peter Parker, looks weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Weird decision. I'll never understand.
It looks off. It doesn't even look like Peter Parker to me, and it's probably because I played.
It doesn't sound natural that Yuri Lowenthal's voice is coming out of that.
Right.
His face, because the face of the original game, and I know it's like a tired topic on the internet, but the face of the original game looked like a guy in his mid-20s. This new face looks like he's 18 at most, and it's just Yuri Lowenthal. Like, honestly, even in the 25-year-old face seemed a little old, but you could get over it. But now it's pretty clearly a guy in his 40s talking out of the face of an 18-year-old. It's pretty noticeable.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, with the de-aging, that always seemed kind of weird to me for a choice, because
I don't.
Now you're gonna be like, oh, let's make Peter Parker and Miles almost the same age.
They did this in the Tomb Raider reboot too, when they went from Tomb Raider to Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. They changed the face for no reason. Yeah, I don't understand the decision making behind this stuff.
Well, it doesn't affect the gameplay. Let me tell you that.
It affects my enjoyment of the game.
It affects my enjoyment, but it doesn't affect. Okay, I was trying to do a nice little segue there.
It was a good segue. I had to ruin it though. However,
I know
it doesn't bug me. I think if I went back and played the original game with that face, it would really, really bother me.
Mm-hmm.
But because Peter plays such a minimal role in the story, it's not that big a deal.
Right.
Okay. This one's going to be a little bit more for Zach, but how much am I going to love this story?
I think it's a great little story. It's kind of like you know how sometimes a character gets a 4-issue mini story, comic story. It's kind of like that. It doesn't feel as weighty as Spider-Man 2018. There is like a cool, the villain's great. It's just kind of, I think, because in a weird turn of events, because the story is so much shorter, it doesn't kind of take its time. Like, you know, remember Spider-Man, like how much time they took to build up, you know, Mr. Negative and the other villain of the game. Mm-hmm. Like, you really marinated in those characters. And this one, there's like 4 villains I can think of off the top of my head. And that's a little much in 8 hours, I think, especially because you're also establishing Miles and his circle of supporting cast. It's just a little stuffed for the running time. But I still think it's a great story. It's just not gonna be the one people remember as much. Okay.
So it kind of feels like one of those giant sized issues at the end of the year where they're like, cram as much crap in as we can.
It feels like an annual, you know, like here's like a big fat story, and then it's over with, and you know, you'll probably remember it, but you might not. Kind of like that. I think the villain's got a cool connection, and they don't really keep it much of a secret, thankfully, but I won't ruin it here. And then the story, I think, really comes to life when Miles' Uncle Aaron comes into the picture. They do good stuff with that character. I mean, I think it was a great take on Miles. It's just, it hits a lot of the same narrative beats as Into the Spider-Verse in terms of his arc. Okay.
I was just kind of wondering on that, and I know you and I speak comic lingo where Scott isn't as fluent.
Here's what I'll say about the game. I forgot how freaking fun the combat in Spider-Man is, because it's been, what is it, a year and a half? It's been 2 years now since that game came out?
Yeah, over 2 years, yeah.
And so it's been close to 2 years since I've played it. it feels so freaking good. The swinging, the fighting, and they've added some new stuff in there with the what's that that power he gets where he gets to charge up and attack.
Yeah, it's his Venom Blast.
Yeah, that's really fun. It's amazing how cinematic and powerful they make you feel by doing normal video game inputs that you do in every other game. It doesn't feel like you're doing intricate things a lot. I mean, sure, you can be more complex with your button presses and abilities and stuff in some of the battles, but it's just everything just is so fluid and it works beautifully.
Right. The camera work in the 2018 game was already very impressive, but Miles Morales, it's constantly moving and making you feel like you're in the middle of a cinematic action scene.
Nice.
It's pretty slick. Like the way you'll do a charged Venom Blast and the camera will like drop behind his fists and kind of follow him through as he hits the enemy. It's just very kinetic, and I know it kind of works because all the music in this game is very hip hoppy. Especially the swinging music is great. It's better than the like operatic superhero swells of Spider-Man. Here in Miles, it's it's a beat, son. And that works in the combat too, but it just kind of makes everything feel like a faster pace, even though really nothing has changed.
Okay, so definitely driving on that. I'm curious on one thing. Do they have the different suits that you can pick up as well, like they did in 2018, or is it just the one suit?
No, of course, yeah. There's a bunch of suits, not as many. I mean, because Peter Parker's been around since 1962 and Miles Morales has been around since 2011. So it's just, there's a lot of Insomniac designed suits in this game. They don't necessarily come from a comic.
CB, you can change the animation though, so that the swinging animation and his movements are like that in Into the Spider-Verse. So it's got that like comic booky stutter.
Okay.
Where it's missing half the frames.
Right.
People seem to love it, but I think it looks absolutely ridiculous in the city where everything else around it is 30 frames a second and this guy's like 12 frames a second. It's pretty jarring.
Right.
If they had a filter where you could turn everything like that, I think it'd be super cool.
Could you imagine?
I mean,
making that happen?
Uncharted 4 had a cell shading mode in the menu. Yeah. So I know it could be done. I don't know. Okay. Scott, I'm going to take it. I take it Scott hasn't played a lot of this game. It's the vibe I'm getting.
No, I basically got through the first boss. So I didn't even, I got to where like I got to the open world and could do like start choosing my own adventure, and I had to, I got pulled away from the game and haven't made it back yet.
All right. Well, for me, I've read every single issue of Miles Morales. I've been reading him since his very first appearance in Ultimate Fallout #4. Big fan. And it's super cool to see a character like Genki, for the first time, really. Even in the Spider-Verse, he doesn't really even talk, and he also doesn't look like him. But this is his chubby Asian friend that's obsessed with Legos that they definitely didn't steal and put into white Peter Parker's story for the new Spider-Man movies at all. It's nice to see Genki. It's nice to see Miles actually have his best friend. It's super great. And I think the villain is very well done. I obviously can't talk about it. It's kind of weird. The ending did bring tears to my eyes. So it continues that tradition for these Spider-Man games. And I think Insomniac, even though this game kind of comes away feeling a little inconsequential, right? It the narrative doesn't really like move things along. It feels like a side story, which I guess it is. It's just Insomniac has such a clear vision for their version of Spider-Man, and that's really awesome. Like I feel like this franchise, this is like the best version of the franchise. It's,
nice.
it's just so streamlined, and they get what people care about Spider-Man, and they know how to weave in. They know how to make a boss fight like you don't even care about the cool stuff happening. You care about the emotions of the fight. And that's just so impressive. And they do that over and over again in both of these games. And it's just something really great. Like the Arkham games have awesome boss fights, but you don't think about the emotional weight of them. You know what I mean? It's just very good storytelling, and it's just, I hope, they keep pumping these games out for 10 years.
You like this one better than the first one?
Absolutely not.
No,
no.
okay.
No, for one thing, I've put, hundreds of hours into Spider-Man. So I know a lot of people. I've seen like a lot of conjecture online about how like this game's, like a snappier or the web swinging is better. It's the exact same. Mm-hmm. There's nothing different about the web swinging in this game, other than you can do tricks easier now. It's just the animations are different, and it's kind of cool that Miles kind of stumbles around because he's just not as good at being Spider-Man yet. Right. It's a really nice touch, and Miles does have the best Spider-Man suit, of course, but otherwise it's pretty much the same game. It feels like an expansion pack, not a sequel.
Right.
Okay. Well,
but hey, that's
I need
Spider-Man
to check
Miles Morales.
Everybody
plays Spider-Man Miles Morales because it is. First of all, it's a great length. You can get through it, but it's just these games are going to be fun to breeze through for years to come.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
I can see that.
Well, speaking of PlayStation 5, Scott, you've been playing the game that I've seen some industry pundits say occasionally out Nintendo's Nintendo, Astro's Playroom.
It's pretty solid. I mean, this is a pretty short game, but it is PlayStation's platformer, like PlayStation's Mario 64, but this comes packed in with a console, so it's not a super lengthy game, and it really feels more like it's a way to show off what the PlayStation 5 controller can do, more than anything, because I didn't know that the PlayStation 5 controller did a lot of things that it did. There's a point where you get the little Astrobots from like Astrobot Rescue Mission, and at one point they jump into these spheres that you have to zip up to secure them so that they can start rolling. And it's as simple as you rolling your thumb up on the trackpad on the controller, but it feels like you're moving a zipper. I don't know how to describe it. It's got like the stuff inside it, like the Switch did, the Joy-Cons. Remember those 1-2 Switch games where you'd like feel how many marbles were inside it?
Yeah, the HD Rumble.
Right. That's what they've got in this controller. So when you zip it up, it feels like you just zip something up on your thumb. It feels like that. It's crazy. That's pretty cool. The triggers.
That's an unfortunate thing where you just can't. That's not going to mean anything to anyone until they play it.
Seriously. And I don't know what use that's going to be in a game. Like, when are you going to ever use that? We haven't seen it yet. The technology is there, and for games to be made. I mean, I obviously have not played every PS5 game at this point, but it's pretty cool. The triggers work way different than I thought they would. What do they call them? Adaptive triggers, where they basically they have a stopping point halfway through. That's not always on. It's only when the function is turned on. But it's almost got like a stopping point where you have to pull it a little bit farther. So if you're going to be playing a shooter and you want to pull the trigger, you don't have to pull the trigger all the way back. You just have to pull it to that stopping point, which could make for faster shooting, which I thought was interesting. When you jump into those balls I told you about, you actually have to steer the ball with the trackpad, which is not as fun as it sounds, but the technology's there and it works. But this is a super charming, well-designed in terms of level structure platformer that's just cute and breezy. It's not super difficult, but it can be difficult if you want to try to get all the collectibles. It's for being packed in. This is a great little title that it should not be overlooked.
The trailer really made it look like it was going to be a celebration of all things PlayStation. Is that the case?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Each of the collectibles are PlayStation items. Like they do the original PlayStation controller, then they do the DualShock, then they do like the multi-tap, then the PlayStation mouse, and it's all like these super high-res images that you can spin around and look at it. I know we've been saying this for years about the images in video games. It looks like the frickin' stuff is there. It doesn't look like a picture. It looks like you're looking at an item. It's nuts. Which they didn't have to do that for a cute little platformer.
Right, it sounds awesome.
It is. And the hub world is like different aspects of PlayStation's history. And you go through it, and each level kind of goes through a different timeline of PlayStation's history, which is really cool.
I want to play it just for that stuff, for the celebration of PlayStation.
And then on top of it, it's just a cute, fun little platformer too. So, yeah, but it just never. We play so many games like Assassin's Creed where you just have this huge time commitment, or just it can be stressful sometimes, just like trying to get through it. This is just a sit back, relax, and enjoy it game. It's never overly difficult. If you die, the spawn point is right back there, like you're back in Super Meat Boy fashion very quickly. I don't know. So it's a cute little game. Astro's Playroom, packed in on the PS5. So we're reviewing a game that you can't like purchase independently, so it doesn't really matter. But I had to mention it.
Well, I mean, if you get
it's very impressive.
Well, it's a PS5 exclusive, so you play it on the PS5, son.
Right. I have one other game I want to mention very quickly. On the Xbox Series X, I've been playing Tetris Effect Connected, which I played through Tetris Effect on PSVR. And I just want to remind people, do not sleep on Tetris Effect, especially if you have a good set of headphones. That game is glorious. It is so pretty and relaxing, and I've needed a game like Tetris Effect in my life for a while. And this was a good reminder that that game still exists, and it's just so great sitting back and just playing and watching how each level looks like a completely different level, even though you're playing the same game with everyone. Play Tetris Effect. I have not played the connected portion of it where you play with people. I just wanted to play it on Xbox and not in VR. So, although you didn't have to play it in VR on PlayStation either. But again, if you do play it, it's on Game Pass, so you don't have to pay extra for it. If you're a Game Pass subscriber, just go download it and crank up the volume and sit back and enjoy. It is that good. So Tetris Effect Connected. Got a couple other reviews I want to share with you guys. I sat down and talked to Thomas about Leisure Suit Larry, Wet Dreams Dry Twice, and Chicken Police Painted Red from Alyssa. You will not want to miss either of these. I'll play those for you right now. I am here with two of our narrative game reviewers, Miss Alyssa White and Thomas Bex. How you guys doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Scott?
Doing well. And you, Thomas?
Still on the lockdown.
Still on the lockdown. I have a feeling
going slightly mad.
Yeah, I hear you. I have a feeling ours is coming very, very soon. So,
oh yeah, I feel like it too.
At least we have a hobby that is friendly for being on lockdown, right? That's one of the cool things about being a gamer, is that we get to still do what we love at home. But you guys are both here to talk about a couple games. And Alyssa, I'm going to start with you, mostly because I am fascinated by this game, Chicken Police Painted Red. I watched this trailer and it just seriously cracked me up. This developer is The Wild Gentleman, and Evolve PR is the company or the firm that provided you with a copy. So shout out to them for that hookup. But talk to me about this, because it looks like a choose your own adventure or like a Telltale style game, but all the characters are animals, and I am shocked at how good it looks.
Okay, so it's more of a visual novel, I would say, with some point-and-click adventure, so more in the line of Telltale games, but it does have a few mini-games in it as well that break up that kind of gameplay, but you are playing as a man named, well, not a man, a rooster named Santino Sonny Featherland, who is part of the Chicken Police in
I'm sorry,
Clawville.
I can't stop laughing. Everything is a chicken pun, and it just seriously cracks me up.
One of their curse words, just to kind of deviate, is clucking.
Yes. It's like it's like their version of fracking or something. Like it's like that seriously cracks me up.
But anyway, he's one half of the Chicken Police, and his partner is Marty McChicken, which makes me think of like a McDonald's sandwich or something.
It totally does. It's a McChicken.
I'm not being professional here. Okay.
No, it's okay. This is hilarious.
But anyway, this deer comes to your office, to Sonny's office, and Sonny is this alcoholic. He is leaving the police force in 121 days. But this deer comes, and she says her employer is getting all these threats and these really nasty words sent to her, and she wants Sonny to investigate. So he reunites with his partner, Marty, and they reform the Chicken Police. And you just go around interrogating different animals, and all the animals look amazing. The visuals are outstanding. It looks like a classic film noir.
Mm-hmm.
and the dialogue suits that as well. The voice acting is phenomenal. And the story is just so gripping. It has twists and turns, and you never really know what to expect, but it's always just so interesting to see, you know, you might be interrogating a cat or a crocodile, and they look so weird but so good.
And it also looks like it's full of puns. Like I saw a screenshot of a horse asking for a drink, and he's like, "Get me a drink fast and stop horsing around," or like just stuff like that. Cracks me up. The funny thing about this is like you watch the trailer and it's almost difficult to take it seriously because it just seems like it's a joke. It doesn't seem like it's a real game. But after reading your review, which can be read on thegamingoutsider.com, which you gave a 9 out of 10, you really like this game. What about it makes it such a good game that people should check out?
It's really, the story is so good, and it's like you're reading a classic detective novel.
Mm-hmm.
It's just written really well, and the voice acting immerses you in it. The visuals, again, are outstanding. I did have a few little problems, but I think those could easily be patched.
All right.
But if you're into narratively driven games, adventure, mystery, detective stories, this is definitely going to be something you want to check out.
Now, you played it on Xbox, correct?
I did.
Yeah, but I think it's also available on PC and PS4 and other platforms. So check that out if you like narrative, or what would you call it, a visual novel type story with a sense of humor.
Visual novel, yeah.
And a good sense of humor. Yeah, check out Chicken Police, Paint It Red. I really want to play that. It just sounds... I love dad jokes. It just seems like a game that doesn't take itself too seriously, but it's got a good story and a good sense of humor. I'm all over that.
Yeah, I think you'll like it.
Very cool. Well, moving on to another humorous game. Thomas, I want you to talk to me about the game you've been playing, which Leisure Suit Larry, Wet Dreams Dry Twice, from developer Crazy Bunch. We're just going for the humorous games. And this copy was provided to you by Uber Strategist. And first off, I got to tell you, Thomas, it as a staunch Democrat that you are, I still find it interesting that you love these games as much as you do. Like, it just seems like it doesn't seem to fit your mentality. Why do you love these games so much when it's like, I mean, he's basically a womanizer, right?
Yeah. Well, you should play the Larry games and then you understand why I like them so much.
Well, I played the original, the old school ones, like not the new ones.
Yeah, well, that has nothing to do with any political aspirations or leanings from my side, especially not the new ones.
Okay.
Because the new ones take Larry right into the 21st century, literally in the first game.
Mm-hmm. It's a time travel game, kind of, right?
Yeah, we're talking about basically it's a reboot of the Larry game. And they in the first one with Wet Dreams Dry, I keep forgetting what they called the first one.
Mm-hmm.
But they literally take Larry from the 1980s into 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the humor comes from a duck out of water aspect of having a staunch ladies man, failed ladies man. He's a lovable loser, but somehow he occasionally manages to score, and then see how he adapts to the modern age with Me Too and everything. And in the first game, they took a lot of the humor from that, and they took the piss out of hipsters and social media and iPhones and God knows what else. One of the things in these games is Larry has a pie phone.
Instead of an iPhone, it's a pie phone?
Which is, it's created by the Prune Company.
Ah, I got it.
And, it is basically a artificial intelligence that is way smarter than he is. And it's female. So every time Larry does something stupid, she takes the piss out of him.
Mm.
Now, in the first game, you take that on, and then you end up eventually with a beautiful woman on an island. I'm not going to go into much detail because I don't want to spoil the ending of the first one.
Mm-hmm.
A big explosion happens, and you lose that beautiful woman. Now, in the second part, Wet Dreams Dry Twice, which is also not safe for work, you find out that the woman who disappeared is still alive, and you want to find her. So you go to the Kahlua archipelago, to the island of Cancun.
I was not ready for that. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
To find your beloved Faith, whose complete name is Faithless.
Gotcha. All right, so you're on a mission to get this woman back that you thought was dead.
Yes.
All right.
And you have to solve a lot of problems before you manage to find her, and even after you manage to find her, you have to solve a lot of problems to solve the game technically.
Gotcha.
But where, as I said, where the first part was more taking the piss out of hipsters and everything, the second part is a James Bond spoof.
Oh, really?
Because Larry Leffer, the bumbling, lovable loser Larry Leffer, is mistaken by certain evil elements of society as a super spy. And a lot of the humor comes from that, from the tropes of spy movies and everything. And he's still trying to adapt to the 21st century.
Gotcha.
So it's still, and a lot of the plot is still has to do with the Prune Company, because that one's been taken over by a different bad guy, and he has a plot that if you take the most ridiculous James Bond plot, and you mix that in with Penthouse and Playboy, then that's a bit like what this game is all about.
All right, I'm sold.
And
I'm sold.
To give you an example, there was one puzzle, and I streamed the whole game on Twitch.
Yeah.
And there were several moments where I thought, I hope Twitch is not going to ban me for streaming this game, because it's definitely not safe for work.
All right.
Like, for instance, I managed to unlock a room. I went into the room, I saw a button, and of course I pushed the button, and down came a gimp.
Oh, no.
With a strap-on.
Oh, my goodness.
And I had to use that strap-on to solve a puzzle.
Oh, I don't think we should go any further with how you're going to use
You
that.
might want to beep out certain words here because this is the people in my stream who were watching me were like they were laughing their ass off, because I was like, oh oh I don't know if this can be streamed. But eventually, I did the whole game. Took me almost 16 hours to complete. I was a bit faster with it because one of the people in my stream had already completed it, so he could push me in the right direction every now and then. That certainly helped for me to be able to finish it a bit quicker.
So you like you like to finish early?
I tend to take my time, but I don't want to take too much time, because that's quite exhausting.
All right.
Too much time here.
Oh boy, this is going to be fun for Nate to edit out all of this stuff, but
the whole game is like that.
Yeah, I believe it.
And like the jokes that Larry makes are a bit on your level, and the rest are funny. So
wow. Wow. Oh my goodness. Again, that is Leisure Suit Larry, Wet Dreams Dry Twice. Again, not safe for children. Hopefully nobody was offended by this conversation, but it was a good time. So, all right, well, Alyssa and Thomas, thank you so much for stopping by and talking to us about Chicken Police, Paint It Red, and Leisure Suit Larry, Wet Dreams Dry Twice. Hope you guys had a couple good laughs, and as I did.
Oh, I did.
And thanks for stopping by.
Sorry, Nate.
Thank you for having me.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys, anything else you checked out this week? I know we had a pretty big week in games.
I did. The 35th anniversary Game & Watch.
New consoles come out and then Nintendo puts out a Game & Watch.
It's really good, man.
It's just Super Mario Brothers, isn't it?
Super Mario Brothers. It's Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers Lost Levels, and Game & Watch Ball.
Okay.
But I really thought that this was just going to be a janky piece of crap.
Yeah.
That LCD is really nice.
It better be for $50.
Yeah, but it plays really nice. I've actually almost already beat. So there's I just found out about this today, but there is a new game plus version
For
Super Mario Brothers.
like, so if you beat it, it gives you a new game plus.
If you beat it, there's like an additional thing, but you can also choose which levels you replay.
Oh, okay.
So
Choose your own adventure.
That's something new because I don't think you've ever been able to choose like which levels you could play without having like a game genie even back in the day.
Huh. All right.
So
just for those people that don't know what we're talking about, it's a handheld device.
It is small.
It's a real small handheld device that only plays Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers Lost Levels, and one of the Game & Watch games. And it's apparently a hot commodity because they're already rare. They're already going for over $100 on eBay.
Because somebody already cracked it.
Cracked it how?
They found a way to put other Nintendo games on it.
Oh, well that's a game changer, man.
Yeah.
If I could carry around every Nintendo game on that little thing, that'd be amazing.
Yep.
How's the battery life on it?
Great. And it
how long
uses
does it last?
so out of the box didn't even charge it. It came with like half the battery. I've probably put close to 5-6 hours on it, and it's still at half. So it's got a battery life.
Okay. Sounds good.
Sounds pretty cool.
That sounds pretty cool. I got to decide if I'm going to keep mine in my box or
just
play
play
yours.
it, man. Just play it. Just open it up. Games are meant to be played, not sealed.
I'll just play yours.
Oh, you'll have to give me the PS5 back.
Oh. I also did a weird thing this week. I jumped back into Dead Space.
Yeah.
Not two?
Well, I was going to. Here's the deal. I got a friend of mine that wanted me to stream the game to watch it because she's never seen the story at all. And I was like, well, if you're going to watch it, you kind of have to play the first game to know the story. So I'm like, let me just drop the first one to easy, stream it so you can experience the story, and then I'll jump back into 2 because I have been itching to play 2. So I've actually been streaming it, and I've had more people watching it than I expected to be watching a dead. What is that now? A 12-year-old game?
Yeah,
I think the original came out. But I'm looking forward to getting through it. I'm already like 2/3 of the way through. It's on easy. It's a joke. My plasma cutter is already maxed out, and it was maxed out well before I got to the 2/3 mark. But shockingly looks really good. They've up-res these old games on the Series X, and it's really good. So looking forward to getting back into Dead Space 2 because I love that game, and it's been quite a while.
It's freaking perfect, man.
It really is. I can't wait. All right. We do have some new Facebook members to say hello to. Steph Ledoux, John Bott, Brittany Grimm, and Billy Cockrell. Welcome to the community. If you'd like to join the discussions and news articles and places to get access to the podcast, head over to facebook.com/groups/the GoCast. I mentioned our Discord is available. The link is in the show notes for you. You can also leave us an Apple podcast review. We would very much appreciate it. It helps us get the word out. And also our website, thegamingoutsider.com. It's where you can find all of our episodes, all of our written reviews, which this week include a review of a game called If Found from Alyssa, Sean's review of Watchdog Legions, and Alyssa's review of Chicken Police Painted Red. We definitely have an eclectic mixture of games this week. Let's go ahead now and jump into our From the Outside In topic. The new consoles are finally here, and even though we didn't all get our hands on both, we wanted to discuss what everyone from the community thinks about the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5. So we're going to share our thoughts, as well as I know CB and I have played them. Zach hasn't, but I wanted to see what everybody else thought about it. So CB, let's start with you. I know you've only played the Series X so far. What are your initial impressions?
It is glorious.
Yeah?
Yeah. So I'm going to kick it off with reading a couple listener comments
Okay.
right out of the gate because I have some things to say. Brandon Lloyd says, I've barely played, but so far, auto HDMR of old games is amazing.
HDR, not HDMR.
HDR, sorry.
HDMR is a sensory thing on YouTube you can use to fall asleep.
Yes.
I just ordered an OLED, which comes the 28th, and I'm excited to see true gaming with it. Haha. And then M. Brody Radio. Honestly, the load times on the Series X make the jump completely worth it to me. Jumping into Destiny 2 and loading it within 15 seconds is a game changer. The 4K is definitely noticeable, but my TV is locked at 40 frames per second, so I can't speak to how good that is.
60 frames per second.
Yes.
Okay. I will agree. I'm supposed to let you talk. Go ahead.
So, the load times on this thing is insane.
Yes,
Absolutely insane. So playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I don't even want to think about how bad the load times would be on an Xbox One.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's interesting is that Miles Morales on PS4 pretty much had no loading times as well. I just wanted to mention that. I don't know if that's true for every last gen version of a game, but Miles Morales' load times are way the hell shorter than Spider-Man's.
So there's no like subway sitting on a subway moment.
You
Like from the
I honestly fast traveled the one time they made me. But like whenever you reload or whatever, I can't even read the tip by the time it's done loading.
Oh wow.
It's a completely different
Nice.
experience than base Spider-Man.
Yeah. I've gone through and downloaded some games from Game Pass just to see how crazy the load times are. And my son has an insane Minecraft world that he built.
Right.
Loading it on the Xbox One took a good 30 seconds. He downloaded it and loaded it on the Series X. He hit A. So it's just like enter world, and it just came up.
Instantaneous.
The load times are utterly insane. As far I have the same problem with my 4K TV. It's locked at 60 frames a second, so I can't really enjoy that yet.
There's nothing that makes people feel, oh man, just the capitalistic machine when it comes to new consoles is hilarious. Right? It makes you feel so bad about the technology you own all the time. Right? It was like 3 years ago we were all like, well, we got to get 4K to take advantage of these PS4 Pros and Xbox One X's, and now all it takes is 3 years. You're like, well, now I got to get a new TV to enjoy this 120 frames a second.
Well, just wait, because in like 2 years we're all going to be talking about 8K TVs.
Yeah, it already says 8K on the box of my PS5.
It does on the Series X as well.
Does it? Okay.
Can
I say one thing about the load?
Actually care about these tech increases, or do they just are made to feel inferior by everything around them?
I'm convinced it's the latter.
Yeah.
Man, I still play retro games on an old wood grain tube TV.
That's true. That's true.
That's awesome.
Can I say something about the load times, though, while
Yeah.
you were talking about M. Brody's comment? I don't know if you've got a chance to experience this yet, but I inadvertently discovered how legit the quick resume feature on the Xbox Series.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Holy cow. Like, I kind of figured that it worked. I didn't realize it worked as well as advertised. I was playing Dead Space and decided I was going to pop over into Valhalla again and bust around. And I think I had Tetris Effect open at the same time. And I just popped over, and within 2 seconds, I was back in the game where I left off. Not at the loading screen, not, in the actual area where I was, with the game paused right where I left it within 2 seconds or less. And I was able to jump back and forth between that and the other games that quickly. And this was after the console was off. I hadn't played Valhalla since the night before. So the console had been off or in sleep mode or whatever you want to call it. And it came back and the game was still exactly where I left it off. Now, is this first world problems? Yeah. but it's still super impressive to me that this game can hold that much, or this console can hold that much information at once and go.
It threw me for a loop because I got up this morning, turned on my TV, turned on my Xbox, and was immediately back in the game.
Right.
I was just like, whoa. It's things like that where you're like, I never knew I needed this in my gaming life until you have it.
Like I feel like we're so spoiled at this point. Like how we say this every console generation, but how is it going to get better?
I'm curious because again, this is week 1. So
Yeah.
I'm waiting to see what other types of hidden things are in these consoles that are going to show up later on. I mean, you remember, Scott, you're old enough to remember like when they were like mode 7. And that became a thing. So I'm waiting to see what is buried in these still. Couple other quick comments on it. This thing the Series X is insanely quiet.
Yes.
For that gigantic fan that's on the top, I forget that it's even on.
Yep. It is super quiet.
Yeah.
Now you have yours standing up.
Yes.
Whereas I have to have mine laying down because I can't fit it standing up in any of my shelves. I may have to just take out a shelf. I don't know what I'm going to do.
My wife hates it because
it
is huge. And it sits on top of the TV console. Like it has to sit on top because I don't want to put it inside the TV console because it is a new console and I am worried about overheating and ventilation because I don't know about you, but when I was plugging in one of my HDMI cords behind my TV, I had my face right above this thing and it has a very odd smell that comes out of this thing. Like it smells hot.
Oh, it smells hot. I thought you were going to say it.
Not
it's not like you were about
fire.
to say it smells like fart. That's what
that's what
like
I was going to say.
But it just smells hot.
Okay.
So I'm just curious if it's just not like glue that's in there that's just kind of working its way out.
Mine is laying down, and but I haven't really stuck my face near it to smell it.
Not yet.
It was just there because of where my HDMI ports are.
Come on, you licked your Switch cartridges. And
yes, I did.
You wanted to smell your Xbox.
I guarantee you're going to sniff your Xbox now, Scott.
Yeah. I mean, now I have to.
Yeah.
Quick words on the controllers. The micro dots on the triggers is amazing.
You mean just from a grip standpoint, or
just the extra grip and feel? Because before we always had those, like, depending on which controller you had, they were like the gloss triggers, and like my fingers always slid on them. So the extra grip there is nice. The grip on the hand, where you put your hands, also feels great. And another thing I didn't know I needed, the share button. Oh my God, that thing is great because you just tap it once, takes a quick screenshot, hold it down, records a video clip. I've tried both. It works great. I love it. So when we get to the PlayStation, I have comments about that because I was there to unbox said PlayStation.
And we disagree.
Oh, I'm intrigued. But I mean, the share button was a thing on PS4 for this whole cycle.
But here's the thing, on the PlayStation, the share button also allowed you to do your broadcast streaming from there. And I have not been able to do that on Xbox Series X yet. I had to use the Twitch app. I had to download the Twitch app, and you still have to load up the Twitch app in order to do that. To me, it still was infinitely easier to get streaming on the PlayStation than it is the Series X.
Actually, now that you bring that up, I don't think Microsoft intended the amount of backlash they were going to get over the fact to set up your console, you have to have a smartphone.
I didn't know you had to. I thought that was just a feature.
No, you have to have it.
Oh, really?
Well, I'm sorry. What is the controversy? Who the hell is buying an Xbox Series X and doesn't have a smartphone?
I thought the same thing, but apparently there is a swath of people out there that are absolutely and utterly obsessed with their flip phones.
People get upset about anything, man. Jesus.
How much is a swath? Is that bigger than a scotch?
Yes.
Okay.
Who has ever... Is scotch a word?
It was in a movie.
So I was a little surprised by that, but again, I've been using the app forever.
So have I. But they changed the app, and the app sucks now. I'm sorry.
The PlayStation app is rotten now.
Yeah.
I am a little pissed over because they shut down the xCloud streaming beta app, which I was using, and they're marrying it into the regular one. However, you can't use all of the games streaming now. We have to wait until the next update of the app before I can play everything on it again.
Plus, I can't find the store. I can't find the achievements. Everything that they've got right at your fingertips is nothing that I want to use on the Xbox app. It's very frustrating.
I can find the store and the achievements.
Okay. Well, then I'm dumb because it's before it was you click the menu button and it has everything down. You just go down until you find achievements, or you go down until you find store. Now they've got a whole bunch of stuff that is useless to me. Because you've got 4 different icons on the bottom, and none of it's anything that I need. Put my friends list there, put my achievements there, and put the store there. That's all I need.
Well, I agree that there's some fluff that needs to be taken out. So
yeah. Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Am I going to go now?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to start with a comment from David Koenig, who has also been playing the PS5. He says, I'm more impressed with the PS5 than I expected to be. It runs smooth as silk and is very user-friendly. It is so much faster in every way. Even going into the PSN store is instant. Oddly, one of my new favorite features are those, quote, cards that pop up for the game you're playing when you hit the home button. For instance, playing Spider-Man, I can pull it up and it will tell me how much longer the mission I am doing will take or how long the next mission is. It makes it so much easier to plan my gaming. I saw the next mission was 30 minutes long, so I held off starting it. Again, this is a little thing.
Did we do before we could constantly look up how long everything was going to take us?
Yeah. We just played it.
I think we all obsessively do that now, but before we would just be like, I guess I will just play this and enjoy myself. But now it feels like
didn't have nearly as many responsibilities as we did back when we were first playing games.
I think it's just there's so much content now that we're all trying to get to so much of it. That you're like, well, yeah, I could do 12 minutes here on Spider-Man, and then that'll still leave me enough time to watch, an episode of TV before I have to go do this.
Right.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
I do kind of miss the times of just sitting down and playing a game
and
as long as you wanted.
Kind of.
Well, you're doing that now. You're doing that now, CB. So shut up.
I wish I didn't obsessively look up how long to beat.com on every game that I was thinking about playing.
You're looking that up instead of the Metacritic score.
Right. Well, yeah, definitely. And I'm looking that up instead of just playing the game because I think it looks great.
Right.
Yeah.
Getting old sucks, man.
Back to it's just it feels a little unnerving that PlayStation is now giving me this information.
But it is kind of cool. There's little cards at the bottom of the screen that will show you how long to get the achievement or how long just to get through that level, which is interesting. I don't know how useful it is, but I'm happy it's there.
No, I mean it sounds cool. It's just also a little scary. That's all.
That we're gonna be micromanaging ourselves.
Yes.
On our hobby.
That is exactly right.
Also had a comment from Kyle Boggs that says, I picked up an S on pre-order and caught a PS5 on Amazon 2 days ago. The S is streamlined and easy. The PS5 is a beast. But whereas the S felt comfortable and a continuation of the last gen, the PS5 felt new and amazing. Menus, games, everything just felt right. I've had no issues reported on my PS5 and have played some classic Crash Bandicoot, Wipeout, and the new Spider-Man. Spider-Man is so impressive. The effort of finding one is paying off tremendously. This is where I'm going to agree with Kyle 100%. And I don't know if this is necessarily a bad thing or a good thing. I'm leaning more towards good thing, but it's hard to say it because I know that I'm known as an Xbox fanboy a little bit. but the UI on the Series X is literally identical to the Xbox One X. It doesn't feel any different at all, which is nice from a comfort standpoint. I know where everything is supposed to be. I know how it's supposed to work. But there is something cool about popping in that PS5 and the UI feels fresh and exciting, and things are, I feel like they're placed more strategically than they were on the PS4. I was not a fan of the PS4's UI. I like the simplicity of it, but I just felt like things were too far away. I had to click over too many times to get to like the settings or something like that. I wanted settings in a clear spot. They've remedied that.
It's nice to hear that the store runs faster, because the store on PS3 was almost unusable, and the store on PS4 is also awful.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice that the PS5, they finally figured out how to make a frickin' marketplace.
I did not jump into the store, so I can't speak that from experience, but yeah, Kyle says that that's a lot better. So yeah, in terms of a preference, I'm still on the fence. I'm seriously shocked that I wish CB would let me keep it now at this point, but I will honor that purchase if he still wants it. Because man, and this is where CB and I are going to disagree, because like he mentioned, he was there when he actually unboxed it and promptly set it up down in my basement, but didn't hook anything up. He just set it and put it on the floor, and then like left the house and was like, okay, Scott can plug it in.
I had to leave for other reasons.
Go ahead. I know what you're going to say.
Well, first off, it is hideous.
It has an ugly console.
I really don't like the look of it.
It is utterly a travesty to look at.
Especially like seeing people's just real pictures now. It is unbelievable that got off the line.
Here's the thing. There's going to be so many pictures. Like, remember back when the Wii came out and we saw pictures of people's televisions where the Wii remote wound up smashed into the TV or whatever? This generation is going to be the corners of the pop collars that are going to be snapped off, because those things feel like they're going to break. I'm nervous to carry the console.
They are cheap.
Like there's going to be times where I'm going to want to carry my console somewhere. And I don't feel like there's any safe way to carry this console unless I put it back in the original box with the styrofoam and all that. Like I can throw my PS4 into my backpack with the cords and everything like that and be fine. I would be scared as hell to carry the PS5 anywhere where it wasn't just solidly protected, with anything.
Yeah,
I would be surprised if you had a bag big enough to fit it.
That too. That's another thing.
I mean, my bag will fit it. That gaming bag that I have. But yeah, when I first picked it up, like I was pulling it out of the box and my hand was on those wings, and I'm like, ooh, no, because you could hear them creak.
Yeah. Like it just does not make any sense for a console to have that.
That's
like
bad.
a stiff fart's gonna break it.
That's a shame if you have kids.
But then I actually took a closer look at this thing, because like I wanted to see those hidden things in it. Like so going back to the Xbox real quick. This thing has been sitting on top of my TV console next to my TV. I honestly forgot it's there, because it is just a big black brick. Mm-hmm. My brain just kind of like forgets that it's there.
Well, it looks fine down here, so we can just leave it right there in front of my shelves.
I'm talking about the Xbox.
I know, but I'm saying
PS5?
You've already got one thing. You don't want the ugly one sitting on and making your wife mad. You might as well just leave it sitting right there.
Scott, you've seen the amount of stuff I bring home for the collection. She gets mad regardless.
What's that like?
Happy marriage.
Yeah. We'll get into that one in a bit.
I don't. Wrong show.
But like the PlayStation, the way that thing's designed, it is designed to make you look at it, because it's big, it's white, and it's obnoxious.
I get the idea behind that.
The PS5 looking white feels like the Xbox One game cases having the disc on the left, where it's like, we're just doing this to be different so people notice it.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's no reason to do this.
But I agree with that. But looking at all the hidden stuff that they did, it makes me sad because I don't know if you ever looked at your Xbox One, but there was like the little inscription on the bottom.
Uh-huh.
The only one that's on the Series X, you actually have to like open it up and look because there's a Master Chief on the fan.
Mm-hmm.
With the PlayStation though, like all the little like grips, they are the
X's and O's and triangles.
all that. And then you look at the inside and you see it all there, but it only goes so far in. It's not the whole shell. So that's there. But then I picked up that controller and I hate it. I utterly hate that controller.
The controller that
And
everyone is ranting and raving about?
I hate it because of my OCD. I hate it. Wherever the white and the black meet, the white is slightly raised, so there's like a lip, and I hate that.
That's a very
just
specific thing to be so upset about.
Actually, when Stoy was over here on this weekend, he actually had the same complaint. He said that he thought that the controller had sharp edges that made it uncomfortable to hold. I don't agree with that. I don't notice it. And Zach, you may be shocked by this statement. I freaking love the PS5 controller, and I like it better than the Xbox controller. Like, a lot. I mean, at the end of the day, you're not going to notice after 5 minutes of playing that which controller you're holding just because your brain just adjusts or whatever. The PS5 controller to me feels solid. It just feels like a solid controller. Remember like the PS3 controllers? I felt like you could snap them in half.
Definitely.
And the PS4 was better, but this feels even more thicker and meatier. Not in a Duke kind of way.
thicker than a Schnecker.
Sure. I love it. But go on. Tell us how you hate the PS5 controller.
How perfect the 360 controller was?
Man, I love the 360 controller.
Well, I don't like that, and I also don't like the flat bottoms.
Flat bottoms?
So where you put your hands, like the two little pieces that come down to where you rest your hands, the bottom is flat.
Why does that bother you?
It just doesn't feel natural in my hand.
All right.
I told you it's my OCD that comes in, and it finds those things. So when I pick it up, I'm like, I don't like this.
Because it doesn't feel like an Xbox controller.
No, because I love my my older PlayStation controllers. I still love my original PS1 without the DualShock.
Oh, man. Which I saw in Astro's, whatever that game was.
So I love those. Does the PS4 controller work with the PS5?
No. You can use the Xbox One controllers with the Series X.
Yep.
But to my
It picked up my Elite and synced it right up, and I'm still using my Elite.
Can you use the PS5 controller with your PS4?
I do not know.
You could use the PS4 controller with the PS3, is why I ask.
Huh.
But you couldn't bring them forward, which obviously is so you have to buy all new stuff.
Right.
So, I mean, it's minor things on it with the PS5 controller. Granted, if I used it more, I would probably get more used to it.
No, they're plastic. They're not made out of granite.
Jesus. Let's wrap this thing up.
But I am really curious on the triggers, though. So I want to play that.
Okay. Well, you have to come over and play my PS5 whenever you want to.
My PS5?
We'll talk. Did you have any questions, Zach? I know you haven't got a chance to get your hands on any of them. Did we answer any questions you have, or is there anything else you want to know?
I mean, you guys covered the ground. I mean, it sounds like the thing you guys are most excited about is loading times.
Yeah, which I know you don't care about.
Yeah, I've never been bothered by a loading screen in my life. Other than the first KOTOR, so maybe I'll play that on Series X and be excited. But it's just
the 4K is hard to get excited about because we already had it.
Right.
Yeah, but not everything was 4K. You know what I mean? This is more things are going to be, and also this is the first week of launch. I still feel like, and I know you were ranting and raving about how good Valhalla looked. I was not super impressed with how it looked when I first started it. It did not look. The visuals are getting much better, especially after you get to England. I think things are starting to really look more impressive. But it looked like it could have been on Xbox One X to me.
Well, I mean, just speaking from the guy listening to you, I mean, neither one of you sound as excited as we would normally expect from new consoles.
No, but I feel like a lot of the things that are making this generation improve are under the hood things more than what I'm seeing on the screen or what I'm playing.
Yeah. Well, I think what you're playing should matter the most now.
Right.
It's hard to get excited about a new console generation when you don't exactly have true new games to play on said consoles.
I mean, the most innovative thing that we've talked about tonight is that pack-in game.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Astro's Playroom.
Which, you get for free, but is that a game worth dropping 500 bills on? That's arguable.
500 bills? Wow, that's a lot.
Isn't that what
you said? 500 bills.
Yeah.
Like Billy.
When I think
bills.
when I think of bill, I think $100 bill. So I'm like,
wow.
500 $100 bills?
500 $1 bills, yeah.
Lost in translation.
I have one other comment I wanted to share from Chris Barogan. He said, I'll echo what the others have said. The PlayStation feels new and amazing, and a big reason for that is partly because it has new games to show off the hardware. Miles Morales is great, Demon's Souls is fun, and the Pathless has been a blast. I don't know what the Pathless is.
It's a game that is also available on PS4 and iOS and PC.
All right. Plus, I can still play Fortnite and Fall Guys and most of my old games. The Xbox is fun too, but it runs like a continuation of the One. Dashboard is the same. All the games are the same, but it does have some of the best deals in gaming. I got Valhalla on the Xbox because otherwise it would totally be overshadowed by the PlayStation. It's good that the Xbox had a few days on its own before the PlayStation came out, or it may be sitting mostly unused for a while. So obviously Chris is a PlayStation fan.
Yes.
But clearly, he did buy both. I don't know if I agree about the games. Demon's Souls is a remake. Miles Morales is good, but it feels more like an expansion, like Zach said.
Yeah, and it's also on PS4.
Mm-hmm. But I'm also not going to fault them for hey, playing Fortnite and Fall Guys. It's on there. I played Dead Space on my Xbox.
Yeah, that's what I think is the most interesting thing about like watching all of this is I feel like most of the things I'm seeing online are people playing old games on like original Xbox games or 360 games.
Seriously, man. Like I've spent more hours playing Dead Space than I did Valhalla.
I actually have a quick question on that. So when I booted up a 360 game on the Xbox One, it had the old 360 animation.
Yep.
That it still does that?
No.
Oh, so it's just they've gone away with that, or like you remember when you
sad
when you hit the Xbox button, it brought up the old 360 menu.
Yep. It had that little bit of history there.
That's gone.
That's gone.
Oh,
yeah,
I like that.
I kind of like it because I feel like they were respecting the original hardware to me.
Yeah. I don't know. I like that it just jumps right into there. They're obviously going for speed this time around, and that would argue against their speed if they had to put that extra animation in there. But
we're all about finishing fast this generation.
Yes, we are, as Thomas alluded to earlier. One more, I promise. One more. There were so many good comments. Sean Coates says, it sounds like this topic is mostly aimed at those who were lucky enough to pick one up. I haven't yet, but I will say this. We can split hairs all we want about which console is the best on a technical level, but you really can't beat that $35 a month deal from Microsoft, and this is coming from a longtime PlayStation fan. I haven't entered the next gen yet, but when I do, this will be the first console generation where I'll start with the Xbox first. And he's saying that just because of the pricing model, where you can get the console and the Ultimate for $35 a month.
I have a feeling I will be following Sean's path as well.
Yeah, it's hard to pass up.
I would argue that it is impossible.
Mm-hmm.
If you walk into the store, if you see a PlayStation 5 and a Series X standing next to each other, one of them is going to cost you $500 plus tax today, or the other will cost you $35. It's going to be pretty hard to pick up the PlayStation.
Unless you're a Sony fanboy.
Yes, if the Sony fanboy games were there, maybe the argument might be different. But they're not going to be until 2022, right? Because even the Horizon sequel's on PS4 as well.
Yeah. Well,
that's a really good point.
Not to mention now that they've officially confirmed that like Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6 will be day one Game Pass games.
Yeah, it's just hard.
We still don't know what Starfield even is.
It's in space.
Yeah,
it's in space.
Oh boy. Well, that was a fun topic. Hopefully, thank you to all the listeners that wrote in and gave some impressions on that. That was a lot of fun. We are still making a determination for next week's topic, so stay tuned. But that's going to do it for this episode of The Gaming Outsider. Zach, any parting words before we get out of here?
Not really, man. I mean, The Mandalorian is great. It continues to be great. It is obviously going after fanboys and girls almost exclusively. And you know what? It's working for viewership.
It really is.
Although,
and by the way,
okay, episode 2 this season, character assassination on Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda's now a bad guy in my eyes.
Right?
He's awful.
Thank you. I was starting to think that a little bit too. Like, what just happened? Also, the more I listen to it, I freaking love the theme song. Like the opening credits or in the closing credits, really. It just fits so well. I haven't watched a TV show that feels more rewatchable than The Mandalorian in a long time. Granted, I'm a Star Wars fan, so it makes it easy. I've got the hat right here. I love that show.
Yeah, I
watch
every episode twice. You know, like once at 2 a.m. and then later in the evening.
It's so good.
Well, for those of you who are also part of the Facebook group, I've started new construction on the game room.
Yes, you have.
That's exciting.
It's a big project.
You should see what he's been doing. It's going to be
tweet it out, man.
Significant change.
You're probably
He has been, hasn't he?
No. I tweeted out that I'm working on it. You're the only person, Scott, other than the two people working on it, who's actually seen what's happening.
Oh yeah, it's significant.
That's cool.
Yeah,
it's going to be quite the room. It's going to be pretty cool. As for me, I would like to remind everybody, I haven't mentioned this in a while, but I do have another podcast called the Packers Fan Podcast. If you are a football fan or a Packers fan, please do me a favor and check it out. Wayne and I are having a lot of fun over on that show, and the Packers are doing pretty well, 7-2, and the Bears just lost, I found out. So we are now 2 full games ahead of the Bears, which feels really awesome. All right. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. The Gaming Outsider is produced by Nate Lucas, and all the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemmage and Metroid Metal. His website is stemmagemusic.com. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Zach Parkerson and Chris Berensmeyer, and we are The Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.